Hi, and welcome to Tauno's Tactics for Sakul, the Herald of Ny'alotha. So this boss has four faces and three realms, which is gonna be confusing as all get out. So first off, you'll see a big black area around the main boss arena. This is the Dark Beyond. If you stand in it, you take a lot of damage. Several abilities can do knockback or other bad stuff. So you just bear in mind, you don't want things to happen in the Dark Beyond. So to start off with the tank mechanics, you have something called Mind Tether, which the boss will start at the very beginning of the encounter on whoever the boss's target is, and it will be put hopefully on a tank, and then it will jump from that tank to whoever is closest to the tank, which should be the other tank. This means that any damage done to the one tank will be split with the other tank. So there's no actual swap here, but all damage is shared between the two tanks. This boss will do that ability again at the start of every phase. So the phase shifts are at 85%, 70%, and 50%. So that is when the tanks should stand near each other, but they should do that the entire fight. So yeah, both tanks should stand on top of each other for the entire fight. That's the extent of tank swaps. Now also in every phase, the boss has an ability called Crushing Grasp. There's one portal at the side of the encounter space, a large tentacle comes out and then slams through the space in a straight line, knocking everyone back. This means that the center of the encounter space is not exactly safe. So you have to also watch out that you don't get knocked back into the Dark Beyond. Then the other main thing that he does throughout every phase is Dread. He will cast it, random DPS players gets a dot, when then that dot also makes them run around in fear, and when the dot wears out, there's raid-wide damage. So the goal should be for healers to dispel the dreaded players in staggered amounts, so that the raid-wide damage is kept to a minimum. But they might also run into the Dark Beyond, so those closest to the Dark Beyond might take priority. Now the final phase 1 ability is a portal called Portal of Madness, where the boss summons 3 horrific summoners that start doing a cast, and if they finish that cast, it's a wipe. During the cast, they will summon smaller adds that the tank should pick up, but these smaller adds don't really do much beyond regular melee attacks. They should just be cleaved down. But the horrific summoners are the most important bits. So that's phase 1. At phase 2, which starts at 85%, everyone goes into the Fear Realm. The tanks stand on top of each other for Mind Tether. You still have the Tentacle, you still have Dread. While you are within the Fear Realm, everyone gets a stack of Hysteria every 15 seconds, and that's a dot. So that is just keeping the healers occupied. Now, the boss will sometimes make Maddening Eruption, basically a void zone that's going to explode, dealing raid-wide damage. You don't need a player to soak this. The tanks need to pull the boss into it. So it will, instead of hitting us, hit the boss, stun the boss for a bit, make the boss take damage, or rather take more damage from us. If you have to save your damage cooldowns for any point, that's when you should use them. And do bear in mind that will be relevant throughout pretty much the rest of the fight, even though it might not seem so. Finally, he will do in phase 2 something called Manifest Nightmares. He will pick 2 players, generally those far away from the boss. It's a debuff that will do damage to the player on them and anyone close to them, and each pulse also leaves a void zone. So it's one of those where you have to run around to leave the zones away from yourself. You could probably place them in the middle of the encounter space, where the tentacle will crash through anyway, so it will have the fewest people. but you do still want to have, movable space so that you can get the boss to the maddening eruption. Now at 70%, phase 3 begins, which everyone is still in the fear realm. The boss has all the same abilities, except he now sometimes does something called Delirium's Descent, basically creating 3 circles in front of him that players can stand in. Now they will take a bit of damage when these circles explode, but anyone standing in them are teleported to the Delirium realm. Anyone inside the Delirium realm has 80% bonus haste, but they also get a lot of hysteria, making them get faster dots. But if you die in the Delirium realm, you respawn in the Fear realm. So only DPS should go into the Delirium realm just so that they can get that extra damage in. Healers want to keep those who are going into the Delirium realm at full health so that they last as long as possible. And if you have a DPS cooldown ready, you should probably go, since you can use the 80% health more than other people. Basically those in the Fear realm just keep going as regularly, but those in the Delirium realm go to focus damage on the boss. Now when the boss reaches 50% and the final phase begins, Thalystra will appear and create a portal that, if you stand in it, takes you back to the regular world. No constant dot, everyone should probably do that. There is also a Fear portal, which can take you back into the Fear realm. If you're in the Fear realm, you can immediately run over to Thalystra, go back into the real world. If you get hit with the Delirium smash, when you die, you go into the Fear realm, can go back to Thalystra, go back to the real world. But at this point in the fight, Dread has changed. It's still a Fear, it still does damage, but when it's removed, it creates a big zone that, when it explodes, takes you into the Delirium realm. So basically, you get hit with Dread, everyone leaves this zone, and then if they stand back in it again for 5 seconds, they go into the Delirium realm. Now they should really do that when the boss reaches 100% energy, because that's when the boss gets an absorb shield. So you want people in the Delirium realm with the bonus to damage, break the shield, can stop the boss from doing a cast that wipes you. Finally, the reason that the Fear realm is still up is because sometimes the boss will summon those horrific summoners again, except this time they're immune to damage from everyone who isn't in the Fear realm. Now, if anyone goes into the Fear realm, all the Fear mechanics start up again, but only visible for the people in the Fear realm, including the maddening eruption that does a lot of raid-wide damage if it isn't soaked, but you can put the boss in it to make the boss take more damage. So either the tanks have to go into the Fear realm so they can see it, or whoever's in the Fear realm needs to clearly communicate where the maddening eruption is so that the boss can be placed in it. This is going to be a hectic fight with a lot of transitions, and are you in that realm or that realm, and so on. It should be doable, and I think it's going to be an exciting fight. But if Sheep has any corrections to what I've been saying,